Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. You know, I'm all about trying new things, but this week I decided to try making my own kombucha.
Wow, homemade kombucha, huh? That's pretty ambitious. How'd it go?
Let's just say I think my SKOBY may be sentient and not in a good way. It's staring at me.
Maybe stick to store-bought from now on for that one. But hey, at least you're adventurous. Speaking of adventures, we're going on one today right here, a deep dive into this whole music and cancer thing.
Yeah, this one is super fascinating. Is music just a nice distraction for people going through cancer treatment, or could it actually, help fight the disease? It feels kind of too good to be true, right?
I hear you. I'm a little skeptical myself, to be honest, but the research is definitely interesting. So before we get into the music part, though, I think we should back up a little.
Okay, yeah. Back to basics. Cancer 101. So what exactly are cancer cells, and why are they so bad?
Think of it this way. Our bodies are like these crazy complex machines with trillions of cells all working together to keep everything running smoothly. And every cell has its own job, its own instructions, and for the most part, everything follows the rules.
Yeah, like a well-oiled machine, hopefully.
Exactly. But sometimes a few cells go rogue. They start dividing uncontrollably and ignore all the signals that tell them to stop. And these rebellious cells, that's what we call cancer cells.
Rebellious cells. I like that.
Yes.
It's like they're staging a mutiny in our own bodies. But why is that so bad if they're just multiplying a lot?
Well, they don't just multiply. They actually crowd out the healthy cells, stealing their resources and messing with how our organs are supposed to work. It's like having a bunch of party crashers show up, eat all the food, and trash the place.
Yikes. That's a pretty intense analogy. So cancer is like a cellular house party gone very wrong?
Pretty much. And the longer that party goes on, the more damage those rogue cells can do.
Yeah.
They can even spread to other parts of the body, like those party crashers hopping from one house to the next. And that's what makes cancer so dangerous. It's like a rebellion that can take over the whole neighborhood.
Okay, so we've got these rogue cells, these rebels, causing chaos in our bodies.
Yeah.
How do we fight back? How do we shut this whole thing down?
Well, that's where things get even more complicated. There's no one-size-fits-all solution for dealing with these party crashers. It's more like a multi-pronged battle plan.
Okay, bring on the heavy artillery. What weapons are we talking about here?
Well, usually the big guns are surgery, chemo, and radiation therapy. Surgery aims to remove the tumor, kind of like kicking those party crashers out of the house. And then chemo and radiation, they use strong drugs and targeted energy to kill the cancer cells, like sending in a SWAT team to shut the party down.
Sounds intense.
Yeah.
But I've also heard those treatments can have some pretty nasty side effects, right? Like it's not just the bad guys that get hit.
Yeah, that's the tough part. These treatments, while often effective, can also hit healthy cells, leading to things like hair loss and nausea. It's like trying to break up a fight with a water hose. You might stop the fight, but everyone gets soaked.
Right, so not a perfect solution. Which brings us back to the music thing. Could music offer a gentler, maybe even more targeted way to fight these rebellious cells?
That's what we're here to explore.
Okay, but before we go down that rabbit hole, how about a little mental break? If you're looking for a fun escape, head over to Mickytolife on YouTube. It's all about travel, good whiskey, and taking life one adventure at a time. You might even find inspiration for your next kombucha experiment.
I think I'll stick to the travel and whiskey part for now, but hey, when we get back, we'll dive into the music and see if it can really live up to the hype. Stay tuned. So before the break, we were talking about the big guns, surgery, chemo, radiation, and how they can sometimes feel like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Yeah, those treatments can really do a number on you. But what if there was a way to fight cancer that was more like, like listening to a beautiful symphony or something?
Well, now that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can music actually be like a weapon against cancer?
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me everything. Where do we even start with this whole music as medicine thing?
Well, there's this study from Brazil that really got a lot of attention. They exposed cancer cells in a lab to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Wait, hold on. They play Beethoven to cancer cells? Like through tiny little headphones?
Not quite. But yeah, they basically blasted these cells with Beethoven, and the results were kind of wild. They found that something like 20% of the cancer cells were destroyed, but the healthy cells were fine.
Whoa, that's crazy. So Beethoven is basically a cancer assassin.
No, hold on. It's important to remember, this was just one study, and it was done in a lab, not on people.
Right. One study doesn't exactly prove anything, but still, it's pretty mind-blowing. You have to admit that. So is there something special about music that could actually kill cancer cells? Or is this like some kind of placebo effect?
That's what researchers are trying to figure out. Some think it might have to do with something called resonant frequencies. Basically, every cell in our bodies vibrates at a certain frequency.
So if cancer cells are vibrating at like a bad frequency, maybe music can disrupt that.
Exactly. It's possible that certain types of music could interfere with the vibrations of cancer cells, making them self-destruct or making them more vulnerable to the traditional treatments.
So we're talking like personalized playlists for cancer treatment. Like your doctor prescribes you Mozart for a brain tumor and Metallica for a stomach ache.
Not quite that simple. But you're getting the idea. It's not just about any music. The specific type of music, the rhythm, the melody, even the instruments used it, could all play a role.
Okay, but hold on a second. Isn't it also possible that music is just helping people feel better, which then boosts their immune system and helps them fight the cancer?
That's a great point, and it's definitely something to consider. We know music can have a huge impact on our mental and emotional states. It can reduce stress, anxiety, and even boost our mood.
Right, and when you're dealing with something as tough as cancer treatment, any little bit of stress relief and mood boost has got to help, right?
Absolutely. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There's actually some evidence that music can directly impact our physical health, even beyond just making us feel good.
Really? Tell me more. I'm intrigued.
There's this type of research called a Cochrane systematic review. It basically analyzes data from multiple studies to get a bigger picture view of what's going on.
Okay, so like a super study of studies.
Exactly. And one of these Cochrane reviews looked at the effects of music therapy on cancer patients, and guess what they found?
Drum roll, please.
They found that music therapy can have a positive impact on all sorts of things, like anxiety, depression, pain fatigue, even heart rate and blood pressure.
So we're not just talking about a feel-good placebo effect here.
Yeah.
There's actual measurable evidence that music can make a difference in our bodies.
That's right. And while it's still early days and we need way more research to really understand how it all works, the evidence is starting to point in a really exciting direction.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. But if music can really do all that, why isn't it being used more in medicine? Why are we only just now figuring this out?
Well, for a long time, medicine has really focused on treating the disease itself, not necessarily the person.
Right, like fixing the broken part without looking at the whole system.
Exactly. And I think that's where music therapy and other complementary approaches can really come in. It's about recognizing that our minds and bodies are connected and that treating one without the other is like trying to clap with one hand.
That makes sense. But if music is potentially so powerful, where do we go from here? What needs to happen to really understand its role in cancer treatment?
We need more research. Tons of it, especially large-scale clinical trials that can give us some more definitive answers about how effective music really is. We got to move beyond the lab and see how this all plays out in the real world.
Right, because a lab is one thing, but seeing how music therapy works in the lives of real people dealing with cancer, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
And I imagine there are a ton of variables to consider, right? Like what kind of music is best? Does everyone respond to the same stuff?
Exactly. That's one of the big challenges in this field, figuring out how to personalize it. Could someone's musical preferences, their cultural background, even their own personal history with music, could all that influence how effective music therapy is for them?
It's almost like trying to find the right musical key to unlock each person's healing potential. But until we have more research to guide us, where does that leave people who are interested in exploring music therapy right now? What can they do?
Well, first and foremost, it's super important to remember that music therapy should never replace conventional cancer treatments. It's not a cure-all, and it's crucial to follow your doctor's advice.
Absolutely. Music therapy is a complementary approach, not an alternative one. But what about people who want to incorporate music into their healing journey alongside their traditional treatments? Any tips for them?
I think the most important thing is to be open to experimenting. Try different types of music, different listening experiences, and just see what resonates with you. Pay attention to how your body and mind respond.
So it's about tuning into your own internal symphony, so to speak, finding what makes you feel good, what brings you peace, what gives you strength.
Exactly. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to engage with music therapy. It's a personal journey, and what works for one person might not work for another.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. I feel like I'm seeing music in a whole new light, like it has this hidden potential we're just starting to understand.
I know, right? It makes you wonder what other secrets music might be hiding.
Okay, I think my brain needs a little break to process all this amazing information.
Yeah.
But before we go, I want to leave you, the listener, with a little challenge. Pay attention to how music makes you feel. What kind of music gives you energy? What kind of music calms you down? What kind of music brings back happy memories? Because once you start tuning into those little things, you might be surprised at just how powerful music can be.
Great advice. And remember, whether you're listening to Beethoven or Beyoncé, music has the power to touch us in ways we're only just starting to grasp.
So true.
So, it's funny, even after all this talk about the science, I'm still just in awe of the fact that music could actually, help us heal.
Right? Like, it's more than just something nice to listen to. It can be a powerful tool.
Absolutely. I think the big takeaway for everyone listening is that while there's a ton of excitement about this whole music and cancer thing, we're still in the early stages. We have some really cool clues like that study with Beethoven's Fifth, but we need more evidence to really get the whole picture.
Yeah, it's like we've stumbled onto this amazing new world, but we haven't quite figured out the language yet.
Exactly. And even if we do figure it all out, it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all thing. Every person, every cancer is different. What works for one person might not work for another.
So it's not just about finding the right music. It's about finding the music that's right for you.
Precisely. And that's where I think this whole idea of personalized music therapy gets really interesting. Imagine being able to create these musical interventions that are tailored to your needs, your personality, even your taste in music.
Wow, that would be incredible, like having a personal DJ for your health. But until we get there, what can people do now to explore how music can benefit them?
Well, the good news is you don't need a doctor to tell you to start listening to music. We already know that music affects our mood, our emotions, our sense of well-being, and all that can have an impact on our physical health, too.
So even if we don't understand exactly how it works, we can still benefit from music's power to help us relax, de-stress, and just feel good.
Exactly. And remember, music therapy isn't just sitting there listening to music. It can involve actually making music, too, like singing, playing an instrument, or even writing your own songs.
I like that. It's like taking control of your own personal soundtrack.
Exactly. And the best part is there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just experiment, explore, and see what works for you.
This whole conversation has really made me see music in a whole new light. It's not just something we enjoy, it's something that can heal us and transform us.
I couldn't agree more. And I think the more we explore this connection between music and medicine, the more amazing things we're going to find.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of music and cancer. And until next time, keep those tunes cranked up and keep exploring the possibilities.